A peaceful day near the water takes an unexpected turn when a routine encounter with fishing cops escalates into something more. In this video, we follow a man who finds himself questioned by officers while enjoying a quiet day by the lake. The officers approach, armed with curiosity and a list of questions, but the man stands firm, refusing to play their game of 21 questions. His calm yet unyielding demeanor sets the stage for a tense and unpredictable exchange. As the officers persist, the man's decision not to engage raises the stakes. What starts as a seemingly ordinary interaction grows into a gripping test of rights, boundaries, and authority. Is he pushing back too far, or is this a stand for something bigger? Stick around to witness the twists and turns as this compelling moment unfolds. You won't want to miss what happens next. The officers seem surprised by the man's calm refusal to answer their questions. They press on, their tone shifting slightly, as they try to establish a reason for the stop. The man, however, keeps his cool, politely asserting his right to remain silent and asking if he's being detained. His composed yet firm responses make it clear he knows his rights and isn't easily intimidated. Onlookers nearby start to notice the exchange, adding an extra layer of tension to the scene. The fishing cops, seemingly unsure how to proceed, begin asking more specific questions about his activity by the water. Still, the man doesn't budge. He doesn't raise his voice, doesn't argue. He just stands his ground, leaving the officers visibly frustrated. What's really going on here? Is there more to this encounter than meets the eye? The air grows heavy with suspense, as everyone wonders how far this standoff will go. As the exchange drags on, the officers try a different tactic, shifting the conversation to small talk in hopes of catching the man off guard. They ask about his fishing gear, his day by the lake, even if he's caught anything worth mentioning. But his responses remain brief and measured, revealing nothing more than necessary. His calm exterior doesn't waver, but you can sense the tension simmering just beneath the surface. Meanwhile, a small crowd begins to gather at a distance, whispering and watching as the situation unfolds. Some seem curious, while others exchange knowing looks, perhaps familiar with encounters like this. A bystander quietly records the interaction on their phone, adding another layer of complexity to the moment. The officers step back briefly, exchanging quiet words between themselves. Is this about fishing regulations, or is something bigger at play? The air is thick with unanswered questions, leaving everyone on edge. The officers return, their body language more deliberate now. One of them leans in slightly, speaking in a firmer tone, while the other steps to the side, subtly blocking the man's path. They ask once again for his identification, insisting it's just a routine check. The man stays composed, repeating the same question he's asked all along. Am I being detained, or am I free to go? His words hang in the air, challenging the officers to clarify their intentions. The crowd watches intently, their murmurs growing louder. Some seem supportive of the man's stance, while others appear uneasy, unsure of how this might end. The bystander recording the scene zooms in, capturing every detail. The officer's expressions, the man's steady gaze, the quiet tension surrounding them. As the officers grow visibly frustrated, the atmosphere feels like it's on the verge of boiling over. What happens next could change everything. Just when it seems like the situation has reached a standstill, another officer arrives on the scene. Unlike the others, this one exudes a quiet authority, scanning the area and taking stock of the growing tension. The man glances at the newcomer, his expression unreadable, while the original officers brief their colleague in hushed tones. It's unclear if the backup is here to defuse the situation or escalate it further. The new officer steps forward, addressing the man with a different approach, calm but firm. They try to frame the request for identification as a matter of cooperation, subtly implying that refusing could lead to consequences. The man, still composed, responds with the same clarity and resolve, calmly reiterating his question about whether he's being detained. The crowd grows restless, sensing that the dynamic has shifted. The air feels heavier now, thick with unanswered questions and rising tension. What's about to unfold? The lead officer takes a step back, seeming to deliberate on how to proceed. The man remains calm, standing firm despite the pressure mounting around him. Then the officer speaks, his tone measured but carrying weight. "You're not being detained, but if you refuse to cooperate, we might have to take further steps." It's a subtle warning, but the man doesn't flinch. Instead, he repeats calmly, "If I'm free to go, I'm leaving." Just as it feels like the standoff might end, one of the original officers suddenly pulls out a small notebook. He flips through it, pausing as if searching for something specific. Then, with an almost sheepish look, he mutters, "Wait, I think we've got the wrong guy." The words catch everyone off guard. The tension breaks, replaced by confusion and surprise. The officers exchange awkward glances, their earlier confidence shaken. The man, maintaining his composure, simply nods and walks away, leaving the crowd and the officers behind. As he disappears down the path, the lingering question remains: was it really just a mix-up, or was there more to this encounter than anyone will ever know? As the man walks away, the crowd begins to disperse, their curiosity slowly fading into murmured conversations. Some express admiration for his calm defiance, while others speculate about what really prompted the officer's approach. The bystander who had been recording lowers their phone, glancing around as if trying to piece together the bigger picture. The officers stand by the water, their demeanor shifting from authoritative to reflective. The lead officer flips his notebook closed, muttering something to his colleagues before they head back to their vehicle. It's clear they're leaving with more questions than answers, just like everyone else. For the man, it was another reminder of the importance of knowing his rights and standing his ground. For those who watched, it was an eye-opening moment about boundaries, authority, and staying composed under pressure. The lake returns to its quiet rhythm, but the memory of the encounter lingers, leaving everyone with something to think about.